Hey guys, welcome back to the United Star, and we have a guest that's really special to me, in John Shin, who is part of Stretford Paddock and is also has his own channel known as Benchwarmers, which puts out some intense and crazy content. When you look at it, I've been on their podcasts, and it's just amazing. But we're here to talk about Manchester United, and before we get into anything, I want to ask you, being an American, how did you fall in love with Manchester United? How did you fall in love with the club? Because America doesn't resound with soccer or football.
First of all, I just wanted to thank you for having me on here. It's a pleasure as always. I think it's a very important thing that I think it's very important that fans across the world, not just in England, but anywhere, wherever you're located, whether it be Manchester United or any other club, if there's one thing that connects us around the world, it's sports, and I think it's more important more so than ever that we do whatever it takes to collaborate and connect and whatnot. So again, I just wanted to thank you for having me on. With respect to my earlier days and how I sort of come to become a supporter of Manchester United, I always used to watch football or soccer when I was a kid, and I never really was all that intensely into it. And I'm not gonna lie to you, Jason Park, obviously being a player of Manchester United, made a huge impact in my life. But we always used to hear a lot about the Ronaldo, the Giggs, the Scholes, the Beckhams, Cantonas. So it's one of those things that you always just hear about it, especially when you talk about soccer. And following the club only became that much more of importance to me when I started getting older, into high school, and definitely into college. It was just completely took over my life. So that's pretty much where it really started for me.
That sounds amazing, to be honest. But I'm straight gonna jump into the meat of this conversation, which is Manchester United.
Sure.
So the reason I started following you was the first video I saw was when Manchester United lost to Southampton 1-0. And ironically, we're doing this right after United beat Southampton 9-0. What's the
The
difference
irony.
in the 2016 Manchester United and the 2021 Manchester United, according to you?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. First things first, I have to say, since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement, it's been a very, very long, difficult road for Manchester United fans all over the world, because we've had to witness and endure what other clubs have been going through for quite some time. If you see the levels of transition that other clubs have been going through, it's almost been a part of the repertoire. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing per se, but I think we've just been spoiled as Manchester United fans to be blessed by the presence of Sir Alex Ferguson. And 2016, Louis Van Gaal days, Jose Mourinho days, all those days, it was tough. Obviously right now it's more positive. I think the outlook is a little bit more positive. I think fans are a little bit more upbeat about the potential, obviously because of the results, just purely speaking from a numbers perspective. But in terms of the general ambiance and the atmosphere surrounding the club at the time, we were still, I think, coming to terms with the fact that this restructuring, this restart, going back to the glory days, it's going to take a little bit longer than normal. You know what I mean? And I think it was just one of those days where those defeats hurt a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But something that I've seen change in United, if we look at the LVG, Mourinho, and now Ole days. So
Mhm.
personally, I think the best manager post Ferguson has been LVG when it comes to coaching, and we've heard all players say that. But when it comes to the board aspect, do you think there's been a change in mentality? Because we remember when LVG won us the FA Cup, he was sacked within 4 days for the likes of Jose Mourinho. Similar situations this season when we lost to maybe Spurs 6-1. Do you think the club could have said, okay, Ole out and let's bring Poch in? Because the fan base had started turning on him.
Mhm. I think there's two things that we learned obviously over Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement. We obviously learned one thing was how important Sir Alex Ferguson, not only Sir Alex Ferguson, but how important David Gill used to be for Manchester United. The ownership and the leadership aspect was so crucial to Manchester United, and losing them both at the same time was like a sucker punch in the gut twice. And we learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
The second thing I also know that we learned was that this board might be very slow to react. This board's almost somewhat toxic, especially because of the club being owned by the Glazers. It's going to obviously prioritize money more so than anything. However, we learned that the fans' voice, the fans' opinions matter to a degree. And I think people kind of sort of, overlook this aspect. But, you brought up that fantastic point about how Louis Van Gaal was fired after winning the FA Cup. I think that firing was, I don't want to say long-term coming, but it was definitely up in the cards for the Manchester United board, because they started realizing how Manchester United fans were sort of disgruntled at the style of play and at the environment surrounding the club. Obviously, winning an FA Cup trophy is fantastic, but I don't know if you remember, but the sides that Louis Van Gaal featured played some of the most abysmal, most static, most boring football you've ever seen. I mean, you've never seen Juan Mata take a touch and have to stand there and look around. You know what I mean? Like, that's not in Juan Mata's dictionary. And it literally seemed like that's what he wanted them to do. And of course, we're fans, we only get to talk about what we're seeing on the pitch, but what we saw on the pitch was just so hard for us to absorb. And I think that negative, that boring, that downward trajectory really, I think, played a toll in terms of the decision that the board had to come to. So I think in that degree, it does make sense. But I'm not going to say it's all, fantastic that Ole's here, right? I mean, it's all good news right now. Don't get me wrong. I'm absolutely pleased for Ole, and I'm actually, I'm so happy to see Manchester United fans sort of enjoying the club again and enjoying the football. But the board is still the board. We don't know exactly what kind of structural changes might have occurred over the years, but we still do know that this is an organization that's run by people that are, I'm going to try and make sure, I'm going to not swear and whatnot, but it's not that great, right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, this season reminds me of the Jose Mourinho season that we had, where we finished second and then the board did not invest in us. And we all saw how that turned out. And it would be horrible for a club legend who's done such a great job at United to be treated that way come next season. So hopefully the board realizes from that. But focusing on this season and the impact Ole has had, we've definitely seen progress throughout his tenure at United, right? He got us to the top four, and now we're in this so-called title challenge. Do you believe we're in a title challenge? Personally, I think it's too early to say so. But do you think City have already taken the league away from us? What's your take on that?
Well, look, let me first start off by saying that I think 2020 has just been so terrible for all of us that I decided on January 1, 2021, I was going to be as optimistic, as positive, as happy as possible. Yeah. So when Manchester United started turning things around, I was telling my co-host Jimmy and on the bench warmers, and I was telling all of the Stretford Paddock guys that I'm with Adam McCullough. 21 is coming. Although I might not have really believed it, but I just wanted to be happy. I think that was the most important thing. I think Manchester United fans have been siphoned off of our happiness for so long that I just wanted to be happy. But, reality calls, and the results against Sheffield and Arsenal really told Manchester United fans that, we could be all happy and lovey-dovey about Manchester United potentially winning the title. But at the end of the day, we are still behind when it comes to quality, when it comes to the experience, when it comes to the management styles. We are still behind, and I hate that I have to say this, but when it comes to Pep Guardiola's side, very well refined, very well structured. Even Jurgen Klopp's side, I know they're kind of capitulating right now to a degree, but you can't just write them off just yet. They still have the quality in their locker. And I just feel like Manchester United right now, I'm not going to say we're completely out of the title race, but I'm not going to say we're completely in the title race either. I'm just going to say that I'm very optimistic about how things are turning, and I'd rather stay on the side of hashtag 21 is coming if I'm going to pick a side,
Yeah, I totally agree with you. When we started our channel and we did the predictions for this season, I said that we're going from 2020 to 2021. So we could maybe shift our title number from 20 to 21. And maybe Maguire could be holding Dan James's jersey this time. But
sure.
But that being said, I think you're spot on when it comes to being optimistic and seeing, the likes of Liverpool and City. But what we need to give credit to Ole is that he's covered that gap between City and United compared to last season. I mean, even if we don't win this season, I definitely don't see the points gap between the winner and us being 33 points that was there last season. So I think that mainly comes down to one player, according to me, which is Bruno Fernandes. What do you think about his signing? Has he had the impact Cantona has had, or can you not say that till we don't win trophies?
One thing I don't like doing is comparing modern players to older players. I think the era of football, the world of football has changed so much in terms of the way it's played, in terms of what's prioritized. I mean, football right now is so commercialized that you can't even compare it to the olden days of loyalty and tradition and trust and whatnot. I mean, of course, you still like to for the feel good factor, but I just feel like in terms of reality, it's kind of not the same anymore, right? So I think in that sense, I just feel like it's not fair to compare players, especially prematurely, especially given the fact that they're completely different players now as well. But with respect to the Cantona effect, or with respect to how gigantic Bruno Fernandes has been to Manchester United, you can't deny him of that credit. I think him joining Manchester United has been absolutely crucial. The amount of success that he's brought, just not even talking about trophies, I'm talking about on the pitch. Every result counts, and the amount of success he's brought us on the pitch has been a blessing in disguise, really. Manchester United also over the years, and you touched on a bit before about signings and whatnot. Manchester United have had a horrible record when it comes to transfers. We're talking about even all the way back to Luke Shaw days. Luke Shaw came one season late. Ander Herrera came one season late. Bruno Fernandes came half a season late. So a lot of these signings are coming late.
Yeah.
So in that sense, a lot of our managers, I guess we have to give it a little bit of an extra cushion room and a little bit more credit. And that's, just to supplement that point, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been nothing short of great. Of course, bringing in Bruno has injected a lot of quality that this side's been lacking, especially in the middle of the park. But if you talk about how much of a presence he's been off the pitch, the amount of winning mentality that he just purely brought on by himself, the mentality with respect to how to approach games, how to fight, close off games, all of that he's brought, I think, and I just feel like it's been such an important signing to us. And I really hope, fingers crossed, that he ends his career wherever he ends at, as long as he has a successful period with Manchester United, I'll be happy, because he deserves that. He's only been here for a year, and I feel like he still deserves that. Yeah. Just the amount of feel-good factor that he's also brought to the club, he deserves it all.
I think I completely agree with you. When it comes to Bruno, I'm hoping he doesn't follow the trajectory of Real Madrid after United. I'm hoping he stays at United and becomes that club legend that we all want to see him become. And
right.
When it comes to transfers, I agree with you. I personally don't think Ole has got anyone that he wanted. And if he's got someone, it's been, as you said, Bruno 6 months late. I think he was in for Sancho. I think he wanted Grealish. The prices were ridiculous, but that's another discussion altogether. But
right.
What impact do you think Ole has had on this team? Because the way he manages the squad is impeccable. I mean, you look at the likes of Greenwood's issue with the England squad, Paul Pogba and Raiola is a constant conversation, and we'll get to that. But how do you think his man management has helped us from the Mourinho days to what we are today? Because we've seen the racism the likes of Martial to Anzebi, Rashford have been receiving. So what's your thought on how Ole has handled this team?
I think with respect to Ole, I'm gonna be completely flat out honest with you. I wasn't all that excited about the official full-time signing of him. I thought the caretaker management, that period, that brief stint of absolute success that we saw when he was a caretaker manager, I was over the moon, right? It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah.
Just to bring on a culture like Ole after somebody like Jose Mourinho is only feel-good factor for us, which we sorely desperately needed as Manchester United fans. We were just so poisoned by the toxicity of Jose Mourinho. And don't get me wrong, I love Jose Mourinho. I think he's one of those guys that we need in the world of football, whether you like him or not. As from an entertainment perspective, we need him always.
Yeah.
But with respect to Ole, I wasn't all that convinced. Everybody was like, Ole's at the wheel. It's fantastic. Let's get it. I'm going to come clean too. I was like, wow, let's do it. But there was a side of me that I just didn't feel all that convinced yet. And I think that's what I needed. I think when Louis van Gaal came, we all had a certain level of expectation. His success as at Alkmaar, his success with the Dutch national team. Jose Mourinho, obviously a proven winner. Ole brought something that was a little bit different to the table. He brought a modern style of convincing. He told the fans that, look, I'm a Manchester United man through and through. That's one thing we didn't really see from the previous managers. And I was excited to see that. And, you asked me what I felt with respect to the improvement. And this is where I can clearly say that you've really, truly seen improvement with Ole's side. I think with respect to his playing management, with respect to the structural management on the pitch, or his formational tactics, the strategies. I'm not saying he's perfect. I still have a little bit of quips here and there on the Benchwarmer show. I don't know if your listeners are aware, but I go quite extensively at berating Ole for making substitutions quite late.
Yeah.
And of course, I'm just some schmuck sitting in my room complaining on my chair. But from what we can see, we just feel like these substitutions require a little bit earlier rather than later. But again, those are all things that Ole needs to work out in terms of the kinks. He needs to fix how he's going to be able to rotate his squad, because we're running in a season that's very abnormal. We're running a season in the midst of a pandemic. We have no idea how the season's going. They've not even had a full preseason. So it's a difficult job, no question, but you can clearly see the improvements on the pitch. You can see the willingness to try. You can see the creativity trying to spark. Because once a team, it's easy to lose confidence, but it's really hard to build that back. It's really easy to lose the conviction,
Yeah.
but it's hard to gain it back. And I think what you're seeing this team do right now is trying to build that back. I think Bruno is at the crux of that, with Ole obviously orchestrating, and I love it. I just love every aspect of it.
Yeah, and I think the perfect example would be the last week. I mean, losing against Sheffield, who've had a crazy season, to be honest, and then coming back and beating Southampton 9-0 is no joke, even if they're 10 men down. But as I mentioned, the Pogba situation, I remember when Raiola came out and said that he's done at United, I didn't want to see him play for United anymore unless he came out and apologized, because I thought that no club could be treated that way. Do you believe we should have allowed Pogba more time? Do you think it's just his brothers and agent that has spoiled the full relationship between the player and the club?
Oh, that's a fantastic question. I'm one of those guys. Maybe I might receive a little bit of slack here, because I tend to protect Pogba more than others. I'm not gonna protect him with respect to the situation with Mino Raiola and what happened recently.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna protect him on that. If he truly, genuinely cared about his reputation with Manchester United, he would have come out and said something. That's doesn't take a genius to know that. However, what I do understand, and this is where I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, is he's always operated like this. When it came to Manchester United, he's always operated like this, always not really saying anything, and then delivering these cryptic messages on Instagram or with his hairstyle, right? And then he'll go to France and he'll just talk to some French newspaper outlets about France and how he enjoys playing in France, and then they'll imply that he wasn't enjoying his time at Manchester United. So it's just like the ambiguity of it all never really helped Pogba. And when you said that you didn't want to see him unless he apologized, I get that. I understand that frustration. But for me, it just feels like there's a side of Pogba that we don't really still quite know yet. But I just feel like at this point, given the situation that's happened, I just feel like it's already spilled milk. At this point, we can't. I don't think it'll be helpful for us to keep him any longer. I think if we just let him move on in the summer and we make what we can off of him, at that point, my man, I'm telling you right now, it's gut wrenching for me to say this, because I'm a massive Pogba fan. I absolutely love that kid to death. Yeah. But I think at this point, it's just better if we just sort of, went our separate ways.
I completely agree with you, because since that incident took place, we've seen a brand new Paul Pogba. I haven't seen such Paul Pogba in a United side in his entire career, probably. The way he's running back and making those slide tackles in our own half is commendable, to say the least. And maybe he's doing that because United have told him, we'll up your price to a certain limit and then sell you off, or that's his way to answer what Raiola had to say. But either way, I think one of the pundits had said, if United want a title challenge, Paul Pogba will be at the helm of it. And he's definitely making a huge impact at the club. Don't you think so?
He is. No, and that's the enigma that is Paul Pogba. With Pogba comes the world-class potential, the world-class quality in the middle of the park, the shooting, the dribbling, his vision, his passing range is amazing. I mean, where can you see? There are very few midfielders. People forget that there are very few midfielders around the world right now that can ping a 70-yarder zinger and land it straight onto your runner's foot with both his strong and weak foot, right? It's not really that easy to do. And for somebody like Pogba, you can't take away from his game. I mean, he's just fantastic. But again, like I mentioned, there's strings attached. It comes with a lot of these other problems. And I compare Paul Pogba to like a toxic relationship with your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Once you start losing, once you start losing trust, once you start fighting about the stupid things and you guys just complaining about every single thing, and once it starts becoming toxic, it's best for both parties to move on at that point. There's no point in trying to repair it. It's just one of those things where it's better if you just moved on. Of course, if it was a little bit more serious when it comes to the romantic side of things, of course, maybe you might want to try, you know what I mean? But differently speaking, when it comes to football, it's one of those things where it's already beyond repair. And I think as much as I love Pogba, I agree with the pundit, whoever said that Paul Pogba should be at the helm. I still think a I still think a team built around Pogba and Bruno would be something that would carry us forward. But again, I just don't I don't trust the board to do that because we've had Pogba for God knows how long and we still haven't built a damn team around him. And B, I don't trust Pogba with his relationship with Raiola and the team. If he genuinely, from the bottom of his heart, felt like Manchester United, I don't care about the money, I don't care about my relationship with Mino Raiola, I would really wish my brother shut up. I want to stay at Manchester United and protect my reputation and my pride as a Manchester United player. He would have gotten rid of all that, told his brothers publicly to stop talking, and he would have, said, sorry, I'm sorry, guys, I'm coming clean. But that hasn't happened, which just goes to show that these are the modern players of new. They don't have, I'm not going to say they don't have loyalty, but they have different priorities. And Pogba is just one of those players that at this point is probably best if we just move them on.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. But shifting on to who the two signings I believe have been the signings of the season, one being Edison Cavani, and we'll get to that. And the second being Alex Telles. I think his signing is something that has caused Luke Shaw to become one of our best players.
Right. And, let's talk about the Telles signing first, because people still forget that Telles is still a decent left back. He's not a 10 out of 10 left back, but he's still one of those left backs that can get you a job done. If you ask me, would you want Telles or Blind? I'd rather take Telles, right? Yeah. Just I think in terms of the sheer consistency of the offensive contributions going forward, his crossing, his game is still there. But like you mentioned, his game has elevated Luke Shaw to a level that we've never seen, honestly. Yeah. I mean, the last time I think I've seen Luke Shaw just absolutely kill it was before his leg break.
Yeah.
I just remember his game against Club Brugge in the Champions League with Memphis Depay, where they were absolutely shredding down that left-hand side. Mm-hmm. And then in the game against PSV, obviously the unfortunate leg break, but his game has improved so much. And I just feel like, Alex Telles coming on definitely brought the competition that we sorely needed. I think it really slapped Luke Shaw in the face. And I use that comparison similarly to Ashley Young and Angel Di Maria. Mm-hmm. It's very weird because we all thought that Ashley Young was done. We thought Angel Di Maria was going to come. He took the number 7 role. He was going to be the Argentine number 7, the greatest of all time. He was going to slam 40-yard curlers from outside. We thought he was going to be this fantastic wizard, but then he came, provided absolutely nothing. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, Ashley Young started taking his spot. And before you know it, Ashley Young became a fixed winger, and then he got converted to a wingback and a fullback. So competition it just goes to show how important competition, and that's all a part of squad development. Every single player in that side still needs a certain level of healthy competition. And just to supplement what we were talking about, Telles, Edison Cavani, in similar effect, also brings competition, but he brings a little more than Telles in that he actually is the number 9 for Manchester United. What he brings to the table is a quality that we've not really seen as a number 9 at Manchester United. People seem to forget that, for me, like I talk about Anthony Martial like there's no tomorrow. I love the guy, but I criticize him heavily because I just feel like Manchester United's number 9 needs to be somebody that needs to be really on top of his game. One shot, one kill. I talk about that all the time. And Anthony Martial doesn't really have it cut it for me when it comes to being a number 9. Edison Cavani might be past his prime, but he shows that, while form is temporary, class is permanent. And we see his contributions on the pitch, his off-ball movement, his awareness of his spacing, the timing of his runs, the headers that he makes, he knows when to tuck in and drop back. He knows when to make the run forward. He knows how to, cut. He knows when to underlap over. Every single movement about him is so intelligent. And that's what we need in a number 9. And we've not seen that for some time. So I'm so happy in terms of both the Telles and the Edison Cavani's, but I have a little bit more of a lean towards Edison Cavani in that he's really shown Manchester United fans that, Martial scored great goals last season. And I'm not going to take that away from him, but we still really need a number 9. We don't know how long Edison Cavani can go for, but I still think we need a solid striker if we're going to really take this team to the next level.
Yeah, to be honest, when Cavani signed, I thought this would be a Falcao 2.0, where we've just got a striker because we need one. But his movement in the 6-yard box and within, around the defense of the opposition is something I haven't seen in so long, because the likes of Martial and Rashford, I just don't see them as players who can have their back to the goal. They need to be looking towards the goal or running in from the left. But that's where I want to talk about our forwards, because we've had a great season. We're second in the league. We had a pretty good Champions League, even though we got knocked out. but it doesn't seem like our forwards are striking. They haven't had the best of seasons. I think Martial is just on 5 goals, Greenwood's like on 3. Rashford has the numbers, but he definitely seems low on confidence. What do you think is causing that?
I think there's two sides to this answer. I think there's an easy answer and there's a hard answer. The easy answer is pure exhaustion. And I'll specifically highlight Rashford in particular because you mentioned 3 names there, but I'm going to talk about Rashford in depth because 2 players that we really needed to protect in this season has been Marcus Rashford and Bruno Fernandes. People seem to forget that just before the pandemic, the only reason why Manchester United started capitulating was because we lost Marcus Rashford to a long-term injury, and we also lost Paul Pogba to a long-term injury. And Marcus Rashford has been so integral to keeping the stability of the side, to keep that level of quality at a certain level, that when we lost him, we just started going straight downhill. And then, I can't believe I'm saying this, but because of the pandemic, we were able to, buy him some time to recover. But the reason why he got to that point, I believe, was purely based on the fact that we really over-relied on him. That over-reliance caused him to really, put too much on his shoulder. And he's still a young player. What is he, like 23 or something like that? He's still a very young player. For him to be tasked with all that weight is obviously taking a much more toll on it. And you see that now. The overexhaustion is killing him. When he's on top of his game, he'll take anybody on. He'll take your mom, dad, brother, sister. He'll take anybody on if it means getting a goal for Manchester United. Nothing was going to stop him. But right now, he looks so tired. And when a player is tired, you're not only tired here physically, you're tired here mentally. And he just tries to work too hard. He tries to make something out of nothing. And before you know it, your game's ruined and your confidence is shot. And that's where we are. That's where we are. We can't rely on Mason Greenwood because he's still a young player. He's got lots of prospect, but he's still younger than Rashford. Rashford, if you consider Rashford based on the amount of games he's played, and he's almost a senior player. I mean, the guy's played a lot of games for Manchester United. So I just feel like he's getting tired. That's just simply how I feel in terms of the easy answer. The hard answer, I just feel like there's still a certain level of chemistry that's lacking. You see, and I'm going to bring up Anthony Martial again, and Rashford. Every time Anthony Martial seems to hit a little bit of form, Ole has this tendency, all right, I'm going to play everybody that's in form. So he sticks in Cavani in that number 9 role. Mm-hmm. But where else can Martial really play? On the left. So he sticks Martial left. And then what happens to Rashford, who's been playing left the whole time? You switch him right. So now he has to adjust to the right side when he's already not really fully adjusted to the left side because his left back keeps switching. So you're being tossed all over the place. There's no solidarity in your front 3. If you look at Liverpool, one of the reasons why they've succeeded so much is because they had a solid front 3. They had Salah and Mane up front. Yeah, they switched sides a little bit, but the focal point has always been the same. They'll always have the freedom to attack in that space with Firmino sort of tucking in a little bit behind him in that false 9 role. Manchester City had similar roles too. Gabriel Jesus, Aguero with KDB up front. Like they had structure. And I think Manchester United are still at a point where they need to find that structure in that front 3. And just to answer that hard, but in conclusion, I think that hard answer is that we still haven't found the chemistry with respect to the front 3. And I think that's still going to take a little bit of time.
Yeah, I think when it comes to squad, we're creating that spine that's spoken about, where we have De Gea, Maguire, Bruno, and we just need that pivotal center forward, which I would say Haaland would be the answer to. But we've heard the debate of him going to City, Chelsea, whatnot. But that being said, one of my last questions would be, what would be progress for you this season? Would winning a trophy be essential? Do we focus on the league and try to put that competition for winning the title, go for the FA Cup, Europa League? How do you see that panning
out? Well, in terms of wrapping up the season, a lot of people say, where would you like to? What constitutes positive progress? Some people are like second, some people are like third, maybe fourth, but winning a trophy. The combination's endless. For me, the most important thing is ending on a high emotionally, how we feel as fans and how the club feels. Every season that we've ended so far has not really felt like, oh man, we've made definitive progress going forward. Yeah, maybe the last time we felt that was when we finished second, but even after that, immediately after that, we felt the low again. So It's like the ups and downs are way too much. And I feel like right now we're on a steady high. And if we can end on some sort of high where at the end of the season, I'm like, all right, I'm cool with this. That's the most important thing. I don't really focus on the numbers. Of course, finishing first would be fantastic. Of course, finishing second, even third or fourth would be fantastic too. Don't get me wrong. A FA Cup on top of that to add to the top, that's fantastic. But I just feel like what's more important is the emotional aspect. I think Manchester United fans are just so emotionally drained. I think Manchester United as a club is so emotionally drained. You could see Ed Woodward's hired the PR team. They're doing a lot more off the pitch in terms of generating a much more positive noise with respect to the club. I think that same logic needs to be applied on the pitch. If we can end where, oh wow, we've actually played fluid attacking football. We have positive signs going forward. We have a structure with respect to this team. We have signings that really look like they can come. Then I'm more than happy. You know, like you mentioned, you said Holland's linked with Chelsea and all these. Something tells me Holland's probably not going to come to Manchester United.
Yeah.
But if you can convince me that Holland might come to Manchester United, or if you can convince me that we're looking to find a striker, I'm all for it. I'm happy because then we're really showing progress because we've somewhat fixed the midfield, right? We have quality there. We have so much quality right now that a young potential in Donny van de Beek can't even find time.
Mm-hmm.
So the midfield is looking somewhat okay. Of course, obviously with Pogba leaving, it might change things up, but I feel like we've done a little bit more there. It's been God knows how long since Paul Scholes left that I feel like, wow, we've not really done anything in midfield. We signed Ander Herrera. We think he's the next coming, and obviously he can't do it all by himself.
Yeah.
David Moyes, Louis Van Gaal, Jose Mourinho all relied on Marouane Fellaini, and we know how that ended up, positive or negative. He was an enigma all in all.
Yeah.
We still need lots of issues fixed and resolved on the pitch. But if they can show me that at the end of the season, I'm all for it. That's all that matters to me. And I'm not trying to avoid your question about where we finish. I just feel like the mental focus and where the eyes should go is where Manchester United finish here. How important we feel at the end of it all. I think that's more important than anything else.
Yeah, I think that's justified because stating that we finish second and win an FA Cup is not something that United should aim at. We should, how all the players say, try to win all trophies, and we're going for that. I think we had a good run in the Carabao Cup. I think the FA Cup is going to go strong. The league's going well. But lastly, do you think Ole is the man to take us to a league title? Personally, I don't believe so. I think he's a man who'd leave us in a good space for a top manager to come and deliver the results. But what's your take on that? Do you think Ole is the one to get us back to the helm?
I want to be honest with you. I don't really think that far into it, but as I'm hearing you speak about that, I can understand where you're coming from, and I can understand fans' perspective when they tell me that, Ole is maybe the guy to take us just before we go back to the glory days. I can give you that. I can agree to a certain extent, but my heart is fully set on Ole winning the league with Manchester United. That's just where it is. As much as I might sound naive, as much as that might sound stupid, I just feel like there can't be anything better for Manchester United than ending on a high with Ole lifting the title. And how absolutely hilarious would it be when all of these rival fans have been calling Ole a PE teacher all this time? And look, the criticism is valid. Right? You can criticize all you want, but if he can finish the season grabbing that trophy and just I just feel like it'll be the perfect way for Manchester United to return to its glory days. I think that'll just absolutely cap it.
Yeah, I wish I'm proved wrong. But Shin, just before I end this, when's the next time we can see you with the whiteboard on maybe Stretford Paddock? I'm waiting for that.
With respect to Stretford Paddock, I think it's a little bit difficult as of now because we just don't know what's going on. The pandemic has really took a toll on a lot of people, including Stretford Paddock. You know that their football club can't even operate properly with respect to all the closures and the lockdowns. So they're actually going through a bit of a rough patch, I believe. They're still doing fantastically well, but with respect to a lot of the extra shows, I just don't think they have enough. So I'm just on standby at this point. But again, those guys are like my big brothers. So if they ever need me, I've always told them I'm always here. We were in the middle of working on a show, but unfortunately, due to other circumstances, we couldn't continue that, which is completely fine. I just feel like at this point, I'm just on standby, ready to help them out. If they ever need me, I'm here. Whiteboard or not, I'm here.
Yeah, guys. So guys, that's about it. That's the Starcast for this week. And we had John Shin, someone that I have admired since I started watching Manchester United, and it's a dream come true talking to you. But guys, do check him out. Do check the Benchwarmers. Great podcasts. I love seeing them. And that's about it. We'll see you next time. Thank you, John, for coming on.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. This video has been brought to you by Whack Essentials. They have some of the craziest football t-shirts you'll see. You can see some of them on your screen right now. We've also added the link to their website on your screen. Do check them out, visit their website. And for the special viewers of United Star, we have a really great offer for you. That is, at checkout, you can get a 10% discount on your purchase. if you use the code UNITEDSTAR, that is UNITEDSTAR. So do check WAC Essentials out and avail your 10% discount using this code. Delivery is free all over India. Please do like, share and comment on this video, and do subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We have some great content lined up for you, and we will see you very, very, very soon.